guys, if you're new here, my name is Fro. I've spent over 10 years in the IT industry helping over 100 individuals get jobs, advise them on their career, and really help elevate their status in the industry. Today, we're going to be talking about a really fascinating topic, and it's this whole idea of how do you get promoted as a tech professional? If there was a secret sauce you can use and apply to your career to get promoted, what would that mean to you in terms of the elevated status you get, the financial gain you might get from it, and just overall satisfaction from the job you might get? That said, we're going to dive in. I've put together a presentation around this. There are 10 things, and this is in no particular order. You can use this and slice and dice it the way you want. But if you apply these things in your career, and this is what I tell a lot of the people I coach and mentor and advise, these are the things I tell them to think about as they're kind of working in their careers to ensure that they get promoted. We're going to dive into the very first one. And this one is a no-brainer. If we're having a conversation like this today, it really, really is important for you to understand that is this whole idea of getting promoted what you want? All right, there are some people in their career that they don't want to get promoted. They don't want to go to that next level. They are comfortable where they are. They get the responsibility that they get, and that's it. All right. And so if you start talking about getting promoted, going to management or taking more responsibility or doing different types of roles, that might not be for that person. And if that's you, that's okay. Not everybody wants to be promoted. Not everybody is going to get promoted in the first place. So if you are comfortable where you are, that's okay. All right. Stick with what you're comfortable with. But if you're somebody that wants to get promoted, you want to go to that next level, you want to take on more responsibility, you want to climb up the ladder for whatever reason, all right, then this might be for you. So it's very important, first of all, to understand the expectation, because we can talk about all the tips and tricks to use to get promoted, or what is the secret sauce to get promoted. It doesn't apply to you if you don't want to get promoted in the first place. So with that said, getting out of the way, if you're going to keep watching this, I'm assuming that you want to get promoted. So this is going to bring us into the second point that we have here on the screen. Okay. And this is a no-brainer. It's a bottom line. You cannot get promoted if you're not delivering on your current job or your current promises or your current role or your current responsibility. Whatever it is you're doing, whether you're working as a DBA, as a manager, as a developer, a QA tester, a DevOps engineer, it doesn't matter what you're doing. When you were hired for that job, you have a set of responsibilities that you were hired to do, or that there are expectations that you gotta deliver on those things. All right, that's what's currently paying you today. And there's no way reasonably on planet Earth that you're gonna get promoted to the next role if you cannot show competence within your current role. So as a bare minimum, if you're struggling with your current job, instead of worrying about how do I get promoted and watching this video to see how you get promoted, maybe you should step back and say, how can I improve? How can I get more competent? How can I improve my skills and deliver amazing results within my current job? You want to check that one off the list, right? This is a no-brainer. You cannot skip this step. All right. So now, assuming that you are delivering on the promises and you are a stellar employee in your current job, in your current role, let's go into the next thing to start elevating your status into a promotable asset, into an employee that the manager and senior level people are looking and saying, we gotta move this person up the ranks. We gotta elevate them up the ranks in the corporation or in the business. All right. And that really involves you being able to step out of your shell and help the people around you. All right. And I know when something like this comes up, especially for people who are in the technology field and technology professionals, it seems a little bit like a misnomer. It seems a little bit like we're swinging from the left field here, because technology professionals are used to being the smart people in the room, the people that everybody looks up to them. And the smarter you are, it seems like that's where everybody should be. Well, not if you want to get promoted, not if you want to gain more responsibility beyond your task into a broader responsibility that might involve other people in the organization. And if that's your expectation, you have to be willing and able to demonstrate that you can help other people succeed. And other people might just be your teammates or your colleagues around you. Are you the kind of person that people come up to for questions? Are you the kind of person that people look up to help solve their problems beyond just what you have on your plate? right? Because few organizations are going to promote you if all you do is sit in your cubicle all day, solve only your problems, push everyone aside and expect that, well, they're going to give you responsibility beyond what you currently have. So you gotta be comfortable going outside your shell. I know this is very difficult for technology professionals or for IT professionals, all right, because it's a solitude kind of game that the more you know and the more brilliant you seem, you can dazzle everybody around with your technical prowess and all of that. It's great to a certain extent, but if you want to keep climbing up the ladder to leadership, to a tech lead role, to a manager role, to a director or a VP, CIO, guys and girls, you got to be able to help other people. It's uncomfortable, but that's exactly what you need to do to be considered a promotable asset. Now, the next thing to beyond just helping other people is to be willing to take on additional responsibility. Okay? Very early on in your career, you focus, and we talked about this earlier, you focus on just delivering on what you've been asked to do. It's great, right? You can do that at 100% and do your job 100%, 100 and 100, and it's great. But to be promotable or to really stand out and distinguish yourself as somebody that should be pointed out as this person should be the one that gets the promotion, you got to be able to go above and beyond. 100% is not enough. You got to be able to do your task and take additional tasks. Think outside the box. Solve problems that, before they even come up. That's what differentiates you, the person who gets promoted, from Joe or Mary, the person that year over year they don't get promoted because all they do is they complain. All right, if there is a problem in testing and Mary is a developer, Mary has no idea about that problem because all she cares about is the code she writes, and she cannot go beyond to say what is it that is causing us to deliver products to our customers that are buggy. Even though I'm writing the code, maybe testing is having an issue. Can you somehow assist and be more proactive to go beyond your current responsibility to solve that problem? Okay, it might not be your problem, but it's your responsibility to fix it. And that's kind of the mindset that you have. Well, it's not kind of the mindset, it is the mindset you should be having if you want to be considered as a material to be promoted, as that person that can be elevated to assume more responsibilities and more stakes within your organization. Now, let's go into the next one here. And this kind of builds a little bit from the previous two that we talked about. And this is somebody that is, able to be a kingmaker. All right, let me explain what we mean by a kingmaker. A kingmaker is somebody that makes other people look good. All right, and you might say, who are the other people I should be making look good? Number one is your boss, is your immediate manager, and maybe your manager's manager. All right, you got to be careful on the next level, making your manager's manager look good, because it might cause a little bit of some jealousy there, just to kind of put it out. But for sure, you got to make your manager look good. If you make your manager look good and they can see that this employee is not the one that causes problem, they are the ones that if there is a problem, you go to them and they solve that problem, your manager becomes the king. Oh, you are ripe for promotion. You are ripe to be elevated to that next status. All right. And some people might say, well, how do I do that? Well, the way you do that is not to be a thorn on the side, not to be the person that's always complaining, not to be the person who's always nagging. If the company is trying to change and bring in a new DevOps tool or bring in a new programming language or try something new or pivot in a different direction, some employees will just complain. They will complain from the head to the toe, from Monday to Friday, and complain, why is the manager doing this, why is the manager doing it, and they are just miserable. Well, the manager is just miserable interacting with his employees. I have seen situations like that, okay, where the manager is having a one-on-one meeting with some employees and it seems like it's just a nightmare. They don't want to even meet this employee. They do it just because, well, they have to, okay? You don't want to be that kind of employee. That's not a good tone or a good perception to have if you expected, or if you have any expectation of getting promoted. All right, because if you behave that way and your manager is supposed to sign off on your promotion and they don't sign up, and then you behave more badly and then they don't sign up, and it becomes this cyclical effect, it's going to become this self-fulfilling prophecy where you will never get the promotion. And each year and each decade, you're going to be wondering, why is everybody getting promoted and going? Sally that was just hired 3 months ago got promoted, but I've been here for 5 years and no one is giving me promotion. You got to look at yourself and saying, are you making kings around you? All right. Kings interact with kings. If you want to get promoted into that next level, you got to start behaving and treating other people around kings and helping make other kings so you can play in the level of a king. All right. Be a king maker. You got to be able to make other people look good, right? Step aside and say, all right, I might know this stuff, but I can't go in front of my manager's manager and start talking, not so good about my manager, because no one is gonna like that. Because if you go to your manager's manager and you're talking negative about your direct manager, guess what? That person is thinking, what if I elevate this guy to that status? He's just gonna come there and start talking, bad about me to my own manager, and just, you just don't want. You see where I'm going with that, right? You don't want to be that kind of person. Okay, so that said, let's go into the next point here, which is, admit when you don't know something. This is one of the most difficult, I would say, things on this list that I have seen for technology professionals. Why? Because technology, whether you're a developer, an architect, an engineer, a tester, a PM, there is this tendency to want to know a lot. And I've talked about this here quite a bit. The more we know, the more we can talk, and the more we can, dazzle people with our knowledge. It seems like that's where we should be, or that's what we should be doing. But there would be situations, because no one on planet Earth knows everything all the time, right? No one knows it. Okay? There will be situations where you have no idea of what is in front of you. All right? And the best thing you can do in that situation is to say, I don't know. All right? That's the best thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is to say something about something that you have no idea about, and then just give up the fact that you have no idea what it is you're talking about. I think there's a favorite quote that I really like. It says, it's better to be silent and be thought of a fool than to open your mouth and remove any doubt. Something like that to that saying. Okay, it's better to remain silent and to be thought of a fool than to open your mouth and remove any doubt. All right, and that quote kind of sticks with me, because there will be situations where you'll be in the meeting, maybe with a vendor or somebody pitching an idea or talking about something you have no clue about, but instead of you sitting quiet and listening, or just saying that you have no idea, you're gonna go do some research and come back, you start talking, and it just doesn't end well in that situation. All right, humility would be the biggest asset you have. A lot of technology professionals will struggle with it, because we always want to talk and show how we know. But sometimes you gotta have to learn to say, that Scala thing, or that functional programming thing that department is thinking about, I really don't know. I don't know about it, and I'm gonna go research a little bit about it. Instead of you hearing that some other department is doing Scala, and you start, bad-mouthing Scala because you've been doing Java and .NET for all your life, without having any idea why they're doing Scala, why it makes sense for their project, and so on. So sometimes, if you have no idea what it is you're talking about, what it is you're doing, step back and say, I don't know. There are a lot of topics that I personally, making this video, I don't know. I don't know a lot about security. I don't know a lot about networking. I have some ideas. I'm not an expert in networking. I don't know a lot about games, right? Video games and such. I don't know a lot about, graphics designs, right? I don't know a lot about that. So when those situations come up, I just simply say, you know what? I don't know. If it's something that I need to go look up on, I go back, I Google, I educate myself, and I roll with it. The last thing I want to do is to start talking about networking and security and topologies and things that I have no idea about, and just look completely silly in front of a lot of people. And once you lose that confidence, and people just kind of see you as somebody who talks about what they don't know anything about, it's kind of hard. It's very, very hard to regain that trust. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at here is to learn the business. As a technology professional, we want to come in, we want to write code, we want to understand Python, we want to understand Java, we want to understand whatever it is you're doing, right? Web development, Django, Strapi, CMS, whatever it is you're doing, QA, DevOps, whatever it is you're doing, you want to understand that technology and geek and talk all day long about it. But guess what? To be elevated, to get to that next level of being a promotion material, of getting more responsibility within the organization, whether as a tech lead or as a manager, as a director, a VP, You have to understand the business. All right. Very few jobs, I would say almost every job today exists because of a company, an organization, or a business, right? They're trying to make money or reduce cost. And if all you think about is the technology and the code you write and have no idea how this code is helping the business make money or reduce cost, you are holding yourself very, very short. You're handicapping yourself. All right. To be the promotion material, to be a manager or a VP, you gotta understand the business. How is what we're doing helping our customers be happy? How are they using making their experience with our product better? And how is that gonna ultimately help us make money? Because if they're not making money, your salary is not getting paid, and if your salary is not getting paid, you're out of a job. So sometimes you want to step aside and say, all right, I understand machine learning, I understand AI, I understand DevOps, I understand whatever technology it is you can come up with, you understand it. But say to yourself, what does it mean to your business? One of the things that I've been very fascinated by is, AI with, text to speech and using it for chatbots, and how that can improve the customer experience when you're talking to, say, a bank. All right, instead of you calling the bank and going to their website and struggling through that, you can just use a chatbot on your phone, communicate with the bank. The bank is using an AI robot or an AI bot that they've written in deep learning or neural network or whatever it is, and that can really improve your experience interacting with your bank. And guess what? If it improves your experience interacting with the bank, you do more business with the bank. You save more money with that bank. You come more often, and that translates into the bank making more money. And if they make more money, they can hire more engineers. Their business can grow and flourish that way. That's someone thinking from a technology to a business problem and a business outcome. All right, improving customer experience by using AI. Okay, but if all you think about is, oh, this AI is so great, I can put in a text here and I can get a result here in audio. Sure, but what does that mean for your business? Your business might be different. It might be manufacturing, it might be banking, it might be healthcare. What does that mean for your business? That's the translation you gotta be able to put in your head and understand it across the board to be the kind of person that can be promoted. Next one here is a little bit controversial. I have to say this, okay? Because some people sometimes will look at this and say, but I don't see any reason or any way why you would want to put something like that on the list, on this list of 10 things, right? Have an opinion. Have an opinion. Have an opinion, okay? A lot of people, especially junior engineers, and not for their fault, right? Or young people in their career, you basically come in and you're kind of like a robot, right? You want someone to give you a playbook, and you take the playbook and you do what you've been asked to do, and you do it well. That's great. But when you start getting elevated and getting promoted to a manager, a VP, especially executive leadership types of role, if that's where you aspire to go, you gotta have opinions. You gotta be somebody that can look at the situation and use your judgment, because at that point you're getting promoted not for what you can do, but for your judgment and your intellect, and say, I think this is where we should go, and here is why, and make a case for it. Okay, you can't just be somebody that sits there and the whole team is wondering, should we use GitHub or should we use GitLab? Should we use Azure or should we use AWS, or should we use GCP, or should we use all of the above? And you sit there and you have no opinion, and you're expected to be the leader or to lead the team or to be somebody of higher responsibility. It just doesn't work. You gotta have an opinion. Not just opinion because you want to pull it off your ears, but an opinion because you can back it up with facts. You can say, well, we are going to use AWS for this project because it has so and so services, and be able to justify it in a rational way that people can follow what you're doing and follow your lead. Okay? So you got to have opinions. You got to have some thought leadership. A lot of people today don't want to have opinions because they're scared of offending people. They're scared of, I just don't want to offend people. If they want to use Java, so we go, right? If they want to use .NET, so we go. If they want to just, go with Perl, so we go. But guys, if you're going to be in a leadership role and be elevated to a status of taking on more responsibilities, you got to have an opinion. Now, no one is saying, I'm not saying here that because you have your opinions, It means that your opinions will always be right, right? But if your opinions are wrong, guess what? You're gonna take responsibility for it. And if you have to lose your job, well, you're gonna lose your job, okay? And then when you go to your next job, you kind of learn from there and get better. But you just cannot be ambivalent. It can't be, without any opinions. I really don't know how to put this so it comes very clearly across. You gotta start having certain opinions about, what you think, where your company should be going, and then influencing and leading people to your opinion. That's how you get elevated from just the masses to being a tech lead, to being a manager, to being a VP, a CIO, or somebody at an executive or a level of influence. Okay, so again, start thinking, what are your opinions on certain topics? All right, for me, I have a strong opinion about AI. I believe wherever I work that if you're doing something and you're not thinking about AI, you're missing the ball. All right, and I would challenge people who are saying, oh, this AI thing, we really don't want to be doing that. We want to just be doing what we've been doing. Or another one that I have a strong opinion about is the cloud. And I'm telling every organization, every business, or every product, think about the cloud. Run your solutions in the cloud. Leverage cloud technology. Leverage cloud services. Okay, that's my opinion, and I'm gonna shove it and put it in front of everybody that I get a chance to do it. Okay, and people associate me and my opinions. Okay, and I can define my opinions. Now, if this cloud thing turns out to be a big bust and no one uses it and it goes nowhere, well, I'm gonna have to deal with the opinions I've been talking about and the opinions I've been holding. And that's why, in order to hold my opinions, I do a lot of research because there is a lot at stake at it. All right, I can just play the easy way out and have no opinions and just be, laissez-faire. Whatever happens, happens. But guys, if you're gonna be a leader and be elevated to that status, you gotta start thinking about your opinions. What are your opinions in your team? What programming languages should they be using? Do you agree or do you not agree? If not, why? Can you make a case? Can you justify the case? Not that your opinion is gonna change anybody, but just the fact that you have your opinion is a very powerful first step. Because to have an opinion, you gotta think, right? You can't just have an opinion without thinking, and a lot of people need to get into that thinking mindset. All right, that's what you should be thinking about as well. Now, next thing here is talking about improving your communication skills. Improving your communication skills. A lot of people look at this and say, I'm a technology professional. You know what? I just like to geek. I like to sit in my cubicle all day. I can write the most amazing, Python code or the most amazing machine learning model, and it's great. And we deploy it to production. We run it with Jenkins. We do all this great stuff, and it's going some Kubernetes or Docker containers orchestrated by Kubernetes and all of this geek talk, right? We know all of that, but can we communicate? Can we share? Can we commune that idea to other people and influence them on what it is we're doing or what it is we're thinking? If you cannot do that, guys, you're holding yourself short, and it's gonna be hard to get promoted. Steve Jobs was great, not because he could build the best iPhone by himself. Well, he had engineers that did it. But when he came on stage, he could sell that idea. He can make people believe that this was the best thing that ever existed. All right. And at some point, you're going to have to be able to communicate your ideas, your opinions, your wants and your needs to get what it is you want to get done. All right. If you're going to get promoted to a manager and you have a team of 10, 15, 100 people with you, can you communicate and influence people to give you the budget you need to work on the projects that you want to work on? If you cannot communicate that, guess what? You don't get the budget, somebody else gets it, and you cannot be a manager, you cannot be a leader. All right. So communication is a vital skill. It's something you need to learn and to focus on. Extremely, extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. Now, the next one here is the last, but certainly not the least, because we live in the age of social media and everybody talking about being social. All right. And you got to take this to the nth degree. You got to get out of the cubicle. You got to go out. You got to build relationships. You got to network. You got to connect. You got to build friends. I always tell a story with some of, the people that I coach and I mentor and I talk to, that the story of how I learned to golf and play golfing. I'm no Tiger Woods, but, I can hold my own here and there. At least being able to swing, that's a good start. All right. And I say, when I was learning golfing, some folks in my circle were like, Fro, why are you learning golfing? It's like rich people game. I mean, I hate to say this, but that was just the reality. It's like, rich people game. It's like game for just, I don't know, all kind of, crazy comments about that. But I knew that the people I interacted with, where I was going, the executives that I want to meet, the kind of social circle that that professionally I interact with, these are people who golf. These are people who have certain kind of hobbies. All right. And they say birds of the same feathers flock together. And if I want to be elevated to interact and to be with those people, I gotta be able to do what people in that circle do. All right. And I learned golfing. I actually do like it. It's not just something that I was forced to learn it because of, just trying to elevate my social status. But that's just the reality. You gotta be able to do those kind of things. All right. Figure out the circle of people that you would interact with. If you're in an organization where leadership turns to go out and do boarding, or they go out to do whatever it is, maybe golfing, or maybe they go out and they do a go-kart riding, whatever it is, all right? And you want to be part of that circle, it makes sense to fit in. It makes sense to be around those kind of things. So think about ways of you going out, being social, not just thinking of technology, thinking about, they say a lot of business doesn't happen in the boardroom. A lot of contracts are not signed in the boardroom. A lot of decisions or arguments are not made in the boardroom. They are made on the golf course. They're made in the airport. They're made, in happy hours. All right. When you're meeting your contacts, you're meeting your clients, you're meeting, other executives, and you're having the social and the happy hour. A lot of decisions are made there. All right. And you cannot just wipe all of that opportunity from your predisposition because you don't want to be social, right? Because the only thing you can do is sit in a cubicle. That doesn't work very well. All right. So really focus on being able to be social. You might not like it. Your co-workers might invite you for a happy hour on a Friday night, and to you, that's the last thing you want to do. All right, you want to just go home and play Fortnite and maybe write some more code and sleep. But guys, if you want to be elevated to a more people person that can assume more responsibility, you gotta be social. You gotta be social. And you gotta be able to interact with people and feel comfortable doing that. All right, it's like a skill. Being social is a skill. You might I know there's this whole idea of introvert and extrovert, but I fundamentally believe that being social is like a skill, and with any skill, you can learn it, because when you're not good at it, you feel uncomfortable. That's why introverts are uncomfortable in social situations, because they're not good at it. But you can acclimatize, you can train yourself to be good at it. Like with any skill, if I'm not good at basketball and you put me in the basketball court, I will hate it. It's gonna be horrible because I can't shoot the ball, I can't play, I can't do anything. So why would I want to be in the court? But guess what? If I was to be going and training every day for 1 year, all right, and I get good at it, I will be in the court every single day because I am good at it. So the reason why I'm not in the court is not because I don't like basketball. It's because I'm not good at it, which makes me not like it. So I'm not in the court, and it just cycles itself. And take that into being social. Maybe the reason why you're not social is because you're not practicing it well. And because you don't practice it well, you're not good. And because you're not good, you don't practice it. And it's just like, this snowball effect. So find a way to break that, elevate yourself, and you might get really good benefits out of it. All right, guys, let's bring this back. We've seen some really amazing topics here. This list was one of my most fascinating lists because it can really mean a lot for you and your career. All right. The top 10 things that you should be doing, thinking about, all right, and the skills you should be elevating, the competencies you should be building on to help you get promoted as a tech professional. I don't think schools teach this. I don't think a lot of videos are out there talking about this, but you know what your expectations are. You alone know where you want to go. You alone knows what your ambitions are. You alone knows what you want and what you don't want. And if you know what you want, and it happens that what you want is to get promoted, hopefully, there's 10 things, just to repeat, the 10 things of being able to set your expectations, deliver on your promises, help other people succeed, take on additional responsibility, be a kingmaker, admit when you don't know something, learn your business, learn the business, have opinions and some thought leadership, improve your communication skills, and be able to get social with the people in your industry and around you, these things would for sure help you elevate and get the promotion you want and the benefits that come with it. All right, guys. So this is Fru. Thank you for joining and for watching today. I know it's a little bit of a longer video. If you like this, please do consider liking it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Jump into the comment section below. Let me know and I'll see what I can do. Until next time, I'll see you then.